Hey folks, another tidbit from the Untamed book by Glennon Doyle, and this is, to keep it short and sweet, the quote that I just want to share is, "I'm not sure what the path of joy will teach me in the long run. Choosing joy is new for me, but I've learned this much. It's nice to be happy. I feel lighter and clearer and stronger and more alive. I haven't been struck down yet. One thing that has surprised me is this. The happier I become, the happier my children seem to become. I am unlearning everything I've been trained to believe about motherhood and martyrdom." And this quote really made me reflect on some of the identities I've taken on in my life. That sort of martyr identity that a lot of women and caretakers tend to take on. And that a lot of the times we think learning comes from pain and suffering, and oftentimes it does. Oftentimes we do need to come up against something in a harsh way to learn a lesson, and that often comes because of the consequences or the pain attached to an experience. But I think there's a lot to learn from joy as well. And sometimes that can even be harder, to lean into joy and happiness and that lightness without anticipating pain and darkness and suffering and and a tragic ending, and to lovingly care and joyfully care for the folks around us. I think when our roles start to feel obligatory, or unbalanced with the people we might share a household with, that's when resentment might seep in, or we sort of start to wear this badge of of martyrdom, of silent suffering, and I think if you're having the right conversations with your family, with your partners, whoever, your friends, if you're sharing a household with friends, when you are honest about the kinds of roles you want to play in the relationship and feel like everyone is playing their part and lending a hand, I think you can find sort of a harmonious rhythm. And I don't know, life is short, right? So why sit in suffering and silence? The martyr doesn't get saved, The martyr, I think, has to save themselves. And that comes from acknowledging whatever frustration or pain the martyr is feeling, and then figuring out what it is they actually need. What do you need to feel happy, to feel supported? And then find a way to access those things so that you can live your life and support those around you in a way that's true to what your needs are, and so that you can give your energy and your heart freely and without burden or significant burden. Yeah, I think sometimes that martyrdom comes when we don't feel acknowledged for our contributions, and sometimes that acknowledgement, I think, comes from within, or just checking in with ourselves on a regular basis that what we're doing is in line with what we want our lives to look like, with what we are willing to give. And if we're giving more than we are willing, then how do we readjust so that we feel good about our contributions? And yeah, about motherhood and martyrdom, I think when I think about my ideal version of being a parent and being a mother, it's to be a joyful caregiver who does not make the child feel like loving and caring for them is a burden. And so the only way I feel like I can think of doing that for myself is by being vigilant with maintaining my window of tolerance and filling my cup up and just continuing to do the things that bring me joy. Because, I don't know, oftentimes motherhood means removing a lot of things that make us happy and make us who we are as individuals from our lives to, add in more responsibilities and parental duties. And I think it's important that we protect those things because, we can't live our lives through our children or for our children. I think it's really important for children to see their parents as individual human beings with flaws and with hobbies and passions, and that they can exist outside of their children. I think it's a lot of pressure for a child to feel like they're the sole focus of their parent and their attention and their hopes and investment. And so, it's so much easier said than done. And I think that's why when I think of parenting alone or parenting just with my husband seems so daunting. And I'm like, I feel like I need 3 or 4 mothers and fathers for my children. I need a community. And I think that's what, at least for me, a lot of these young years are for, I think. Building that community, building your friendships, and your strengthening your bonds with your families, so that if that is, a route you want to go, you might have some people in your corner. I certainly have become a lot more comfortable acknowledging that I don't think I can do it alone. And I don't want to. And that's the main thing. I don't want to do it alone anymore. I've done a lot of things on my own, all by myself. And no one gives you a gold star for it. I'd rather not be the martyr. I'd rather not suffer in silence. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little tidbit, and catch you in the next one. Bye.